G'day tubers and welcome to part 30. Yes, that's right, 30 of these now. Who would have ever thought? Anyway, yeah, thank you to my subscribers and my viewers and anyone else who contributes in any way. We are still in Maryborough, and this is Lake Victoria that you're looking at now. This is the caravan park backs up onto this. And it's a beautiful lake, for the public and all that, of course, sort of in the middle of town there. And this is where the swans live and the ducks live and all those sorts of creatures. So, yeah, nice place. But today's Saturday and it's a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky. So we are going to go and have a little bit of a look at a couple of things in Maryborough. Main one being the Maryborough Station, which is absolutely a magnificent bit of architecture. So we'll have a look at that and see what else comes along our way and, go from there. Righto, guys, let's hook in. See ya. Tubers, this is the famous Maryborough Railway Station. And what a beautiful building it is too. First opened in 1874, but that's not the original building, actually. The original building they thought was too small. So what they did was they actually built the bigger one that we see today. And that was 20 years later. So, yeah, 1890 or whatever it was. Pardon me, they built this beautiful place. But, yeah, once again, what a piece of work. And I wonder if we, like I said about the cathedral the other day, do we still have the tradesmen to even make this sort of stuff these days? I mean, it's absolutely beautiful from both sides. I mean, even if you get on the track side of it and look down at the roof and the pillars and all that sort of stuff, it's absolutely beautiful. The timber work and that inside is magnificent. The station master and all that sort of people used to actually live in this building. They had their rooms and all that in there. So yeah, it was quite a, it was sort of the central hub, I suppose, But all the rail happenings were there, and at the time, they thought rail was going to be big in Victoria. This is sort of before the motor car got big, so Maryborough Station was probably seen as a bit of a centrepiece, for that system. Tubers, this is the museum on the platform of Maryborough Station, right up the northern end there, if ever you go there. Well worth a look. It's only small, but he's got some great stuff in here. And one of the interesting things, I mean, you always learn something in these places, but one of the interesting things was a little bit of history about the boomerang, or specifically the ones that return. The Aboriginals used to throw them out over waterways and that sort of stuff, and the birds, the water birds, would think it was a hawk or something like that, and it would scare them, and they would take to the air, low over the water, and they would actually fly into pre-organised nets, and that's how they caught the birds. So that's what the boomerang was for. There was different other sorts. Some were for fighting, that didn't return, but different shapes, that sort of thing. I'm no boomerang expert, but the things you learn when you come into these places, it's well worth it for anyone. Just have a look, and you can clarify on things that sometimes you thought were true, and then you find out that the way they were explained, it wasn't quite true. So, yeah, very interesting about the boomerang. These leg irons that you're about to see were riveted to the convict. Makes you wonder how they got them off when the guy's time was finished. Tubers, the curator of this museum, I don't know his name. He does all the artwork. Well, I'm pretty sure he does all the artwork in here himself. All these paintings with Aboriginals and landscapes are all done by him. So yeah, quite a talented man. And also, just at the end here, you're going to see it looks like a bit of a tree stump. I think it's actually known as a graft, and what the Aborigines used to do was graft them in this shape so that they knew there was water nearby.
Tubers, the curator at the museum here, was nice enough to put me to the test, and he asked me what I thought this was. It's Aboriginal and it's real, and I had no idea at all. But he was nice enough to actually explain to me that it's a fire starter, and it works by the old friction method.
The old friction method, that's it.
Yeah. Put that in there and away you go. So you got your own little fire kit.
Back in the holder and probably through a grass string
Put it
belt.
through his belt or not belt in those days.
Yeah.
Hey, that's brilliant. That is great. Here's an interesting one, guys. It's a rabbit exterminator from the 1930s. And the story goes that you build a fire in the top, and down the bottom in here, you put some oils and that, and then hit the blower, and that'll blow, knocks all toxic gases out that tube and down the rabbit hole. So yeah, that's interesting. Stupid me thought, yeah, undo the top and put the rabbits in the top and smother them or something. Never seen one of them before.
A small little memorial plot tube is in Maryborough there. Just remembering the local soldiers who didn't come home from the 1418 war, obviously over 100 years ago. But the sad thing is, once again, to walk through and read some of the little, they're not just little notice boards for each individual soldier. I think the oldest one I saw was about 30. All the rest were, 20 years old and that. So what sort of a life would that have been? Going overseas, well, to some stinking bloody shore to get blown up and killed in some bloody muddy trench, at that age, at 20 years old. It's incredible. Tubers, we've seen these before. This is the remains of an old gold battery or quartz battery. The big vessels are obviously, steam vessels that powered the battering rams back then. None of that's here anymore. Apparently, when the mining finished, that went to some other location. But all the infrastructure still remains, and it's now obviously listed as a historic site. But once again, you can imagine the stories that these places could tell you. Coming up, you'll see one of the boilers, and the guy, the blacksmith or the boiler maker who made it. If you look at the panels that they've rolled into the round shape, not all of them are the same size. They're all varying in sizes, so he must have just used whatever bits of flat steel he could find, and or recycle to make it up. But what a piece of work. Look at all the rivets and all, and it's incredible how they would have done it. But so an old quartz battery, there you go, the things you come across. This is the one I was talking about, tubers. Have a look at the different sized panels all riveted together. Came across this, tubers. Funny the things you learn if you wait. Remember we spoke about cyanide vats in Castlemaine? We came across a few there. Well, got the same thing here, and here is the story of how they work. So, rather than me crapping on, read on, guys, and look at the pictures, and it'll tell you how it all works. That's great. quite a lot of work went into all of this, guys. It's, the gold mining process. You walk around these places and there's little vats and holes and little water channels and all sorts of little... it would have been great to see it work. The miners did it very hard, I'm told. But just to see how it all worked and how they extracted the gold from the quartz to the final product, it would have been very interesting.
Well, I've said it a few times, tubers, but you come around and you start getting out on some of these tracks, and the things you find. This is the Eagle Hawk Dam, and once again, it would have been dug for a water supply, obviously, for the mining days. And if you look over here, same as the other one, it sounds like my theory might be correct. That looks like another gold puddler to me. You can see that sort of post in the middle there, and then the drain out on the other side, and then the water runs off down the stream there. Might even be worth prospecting around here. We might give it a go.
Tubers, these are some Aboriginal rock wells in the area. The little notice board will describe, that they dug them out, and it's sort of a bit of a water supply. And when you look around here, you could use it, but the way it's displayed, it's been around for some time. You can't see anything through the cyclone wire fence. Wouldn't you reckon they'd get together with the local Aboriginal community and make something that's better for the tourists to have a proper look at and understanding of? Tell you what, tubers, this bloke didn't look too happy when I encroached on his space. If looks could kill, I was a dead man. Here's a nice bit of what I believe is called Art Deco styling. Have a look at that. Well, here's the day's diggings, guys, and the usual junk, I suppose you'd call it. But no, have a look at some of the history in this. Thank you to Rob from Western Australia, who happened to stick his head round the corner and have a look at this. A lot of it's horse and cart related. And they used to use a lot of horse and carts to carry the quartz and that up to the stamping plants and that sort of thing. So, yeah, there's little harness bits and pieces and belt buckles and all blacksmith stuff, and a lot of it could be, he reckoned, related to the actual carts or the little coaches themselves. So, good little score, this one. This hinge, for example, have a look how thick this was made. The stuff was built to last. This looks like a square hole punch. I'm tipping there was a blacksmith shop somewhere around here. Well, my friends, still no gold, but anyway, it's a lot of fun digging up this older stuff. A lot of, as I just said, a lot of history, and it's interesting. It makes you think back. Not that I was around, but anyway. I'm going to call that quits on part 30. This is up to 15 minutes now. We're going to hang around Maryborough till about next Monday, whatever date that is. And we'll probably be on the road for another month, and then we'll head back to Melbourne and start thinking about doing some work. I don't particularly want to go back to work, but there's one thing I can get at work that I'm not getting out here, and that's money. So, yeah, we want to earn a bit of that. But, thanks to my subscribers, my viewers, and anyone else who helps along the way, as I mentioned at the start. Take care, guys. That is part 30. I shall see you very shortly in part 31.